Good morning, and thank you for joining us on another episode of the Roundtable Talk Show. I am your host, Sharifa Hardy, and do I have an exciting show for you today? Usually I have maybe 2 or 3 guests, maybe 4 or 5, but today I had so many people who are interested in speaking with you. I actually have 6 guests that are joining us this morning, but it's going to be an amazing show. We're going to have a good time. So get your notes ready so you can learn from our guests today. And it just goes to show, I always talk about on the round table, I get plenty of women to be guests on the show. It's something about the women who like to talk, and I hardly ever get a show full of men. Today, I have almost all women, and then I have a male perspective on what's going on in the world. Yes, that's you, John. Our first guest is Meghan Gardner. She is the CEO and founder of Guard Up Inc. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing? I'm great this morning.
I am wonderful. I love your smile. I love your backdrop. I love the castle.
Thank you. Yeah, this is where I work. So it was designed by my oldest daughter, and we had it manufactured and installed on the front of our building. It's a good theme for the type of adventures that we do.
We're going to talk a little bit about your adventures momentarily. We're going to move on to our next guest, who is Jody DeLuca. And Jody is a licensed clinical psychologist. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, Sharifa.
It's a pleasure to have you. And we're going to talk a little bit about peace of mind during these trying times a little bit later.
Absolutely. Sure.
Now, our next guest is a wonderful friend of mine. Whenever I'm stressed out, she always helps me through these trying times. Actually, I have 2 great friends I always lean on today. But my first one is Mandisa Subira. She is the executive director of Kiamsha, and she also is the ambassador for peace by the Interreligious and International Federation for World Peace. Good morning, Mandisa. How are you?
Good morning, beautiful goddess.
Yes, I love your backdrop, and I especially love your necklace.
Thank you. Thank you. It was custom made. We're doing these high vibrational crystal jewelry.
Oh, I love it. It kind of looks like a warrior theme.
Absolutely.
And then another dear friend of mine who always supports me, always helps me, is always there to cheer me up. Sometimes I think she gets tired of me, but I love her to death. Miss Zumara Maria. She is the CEO and founder of Roots and Wishes, and she's also a professional. She has a professional coaching company, and she is an awarded Latina. Good morning, Zumara. How are you?
Good morning. It's such an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of these amazing people today. So excited.
Yes, it is. I'm excited as well. I was talking a little bit earlier about how excited I was to do this show. You know, it's like kids, you never want to pick a favorite, but I was waiting to do this show because I had so many people. I'm like, I want to talk to them. I want to talk to them. So yes, I'm definitely excited. Our next guest is a fitness expert and business coach, Miss Kim Niles. Good morning, Kim. How are you?
Good morning, Sharifa. Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. I love your smile. I love your glasses. When I look in the background, it's like, okay, I'm not going to judge people, but I just wanted to point this out. It's like, I wouldn't see you as someone who does fitness. I see the body and everything, but it's like, I see the glasses. Like, you remind me of the lady from CSI with Shamar Moore. Like, I would think you're like a nerd or a geek or something. Like, you just have that kind of image.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about that. Now, before I introduce my next guest, I'm a little parched, so I have to take a drink from my Celsius.
Love it.
Boom. Whew, I feel a lot better. So our next guest, John Fieldley, is the CEO of Celsius, and he's here with us this morning. Good morning, John. How are you?
Very good, very good. Great to be here with everyone and very excited. So thank you for having us and appreciate it very much. Glad to be here.
You are very welcome. I appreciate it as well. I love the background. I love the different drinks that you have. And I was so pleasantly surprised by the sparkling full Fuji apple pear. I'm just telling you, this is my favorite.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I tried the guava and I like it, but it's not necessarily my favorite. But I look this.
Absolutely. Good green tea. Guava, got seven essential vitamins. Good way to start the day. Absolutely.
Yes, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that, but we're also going to talk about what you and your company is doing to help other people during this time. I saw so many different creative ideas that came out of it, and I definitely want to talk about that. But for a moment, we're going to give the women a little bit of a chance to talk, and we'll be back with you. Okay, John?
Absolutely. Terrific.
Now, I want to go over to Zamara for a minute, and I want to start with you because you do a lot of different things. Not only are you a coach, you have your own business, you are part of Cal State Long Beach, you do a lot of different things. But one of the things that I noticed when this epidemic first broke off, I need to edit that part out of my own show, but but you started doing Facebook Lives to help people every day and being a positive person that they can tune into. Tell us a little bit about what you've been doing since the beginning of this pandemic.
Well, what I started were bonding circles. And so every night I come on at 7:30 and I do prayer, meditation, I do card pulls, I do individual card pulls, I pull cards for the collective. And it's just a time, 7:30, it's 15 minutes. It's a time for people to take a deep breath. We do some breathing exercises, and it's just a time for people to get grounded right before they go to bed. Last night, we did a meditation and a prayer for the new moon and for Earth Day. We've done a lot of healing meditations. We do chakra cleansings. So it's just a nice, relaxing, peaceful time. I do a cleansing. I have a smudging prayer that I give out, and I do a cleansing that people can do on their own and do in their homes. And it's just been a really nice way to just take a deep breath and relax. And they're free. They're on Facebook Live. I also did 100 self-care tips when we first started. And then in May, I'm going to start doing 100 tips for thriving. So a lot of really positive energy, just putting out a lot of positive energy. I refer to this as retreating to the safety of your own home. And I encourage people to take care of themselves, take care of their families, take care of their community, and then take care of Mother Earth.
That's beautiful. What motivated you to start this process?
You know, it was just one of those things where I've been thinking of doing prayer circles, and I have done healing prayer circles for people who are ill, and I go to their homes and I'll bring together all their friends and we do a prayer circle for them. And I've had people ask me to start prayer circles, and then this just seemed like the perfect opportunity. Like, okay, I've been being nudged, and now I'm actually going to do it. So it was just something that has been building. And when I have people at my home, we always do prayer circles. And so I did bonding circles. And so we do a little bit more than prayer, but there's always a prayer involved, definitely.
Tell us a little bit about Roots and Wings.
Roots and Wings is my business, and Roots and Wings is about coaching for peak performance. So what I do is I do events and I help people work on personal, professional, and creative growth. And how do you balance the three aspects of your life so that you can grow and perform? And I help people get out of that idea of it's either my personal life or my professional life, and how do you meld all of those, and then how do you add in a creative life? Because sometimes we think of personal and professional and we forget about self, and then you're out of balance. You're always feeling like you're teetering and you're not actually balanced. And you know, it's like a stool. A three-legged stool is always balanced, and so you have to balance on all three of your vectors. So in Roots and Wings, I work a lot on that. And then I have some signature programs. One of them is Abrazos, for gratitude and appreciation. I do a lot with gratitude. As a matter of fact, as part of the bonding circles, one of my gratitude books is always free. and we go over how to deepen your gratitude practice. Joe Dispenza just did an incredible video on how gratitude will help your immune system. And we know that right now during this pandemic, the most important thing you can do is strengthen your immune system. And then I have a signature program, Millionaire Divas, where I help women work through their limiting beliefs on finances. And then I have a signature program on reclaiming your divinity, where I help people get closer to their divine selves.
That's beautiful. Now, as an
Thank
event
you.
company, I know the event industry is one of those industries that has been hit hard. Did you put Roots and Wings on hold, or did you just switch over to being completely virtual?
You know, what I did was I just did completely online, and everything I'm doing right now is free. So I have my books. So I put one book a week on Facebook as a free book, and then I'm doing the bonding circles. And I haven't done any events online, but I was thinking that in May I might do Millionaire Divas online, because as we start moving out of this pandemic, people need to change their vibe about finances and money. Otherwise, they're going to find themselves in a really stressed out space.
Absolutely. I know that people have been very stressed out. I want to move over to Jody DeLuca for a minute. What are some of the reactions or responses that you've been dealing with people during this pandemic?
Well, and it's been incredible. It's been overwhelming, but so appropriate to the situation of what's going on. This is a physical, psychological, emotional, and economic stressor and threat to our livelihood. So people are very much experiencing heightened anxiety, fear, panic, depression, inability to sleep. People's moods and emotions vacillate from hour to hour, and it's also what we call a collective grieving process throughout the world, not only in our country, but throughout the world. I do have to say, I'm so impressed, Zamara, with the prayer circles you've had and that you continue to have. Those are very important. I have a career working within hospitals and ERs, trauma centers, and so on. And the power of prayer is so important and so magnificent, as well as before going to bed, trying to get some sense of peace, because it's right before we go to sleep and when we wake up in the morning that we experience such emotional turmoil in general, if there's a lot of stress, but especially with this threat that's going on, and no one is immune. There are no boundaries. It's a force of nature, and it has rocked the world. And so we can take it down to a very small level, but all of us are affected in some way.
Absolutely, absolutely. John, I want to go over to you for a minute. I know, first of all, tell us a little bit about your company, and then let's talk about some of the things your company is doing right now to help people during this pandemic.
Yeah, we're a healthy energy drink, really born in fitness and vitamin specialty. And with the health and wellness trends today, we've been capitalizing on that and getting further awareness and more distribution outside of that fitness channel. Where today we're available at Target, CVS, Publix, Rite Aid, and many retailers around the country now, just really getting in the last really 12 months. And then now we're dealing with the COVID-19 crisis. So it's really impacted, as we all know, a lot of anxiety coming from everyone, families, people working at home, and the different way we all have to live and work our lives, which is really difficult. So we have made a lot of changes, just as everyone has, every small business and business owner out there, and every individual. Yep. Moms now working at home and dads working at home and having to teach their children for the first time and experiencing that. And, Judy and Zumero, you talked about the stress and the anxiety. It's just so much happening, and a lot of sleepless nights around the country. And we talk about that emotional component as well. And one thing we've embraced is we haven't been embedded in the fitness channel, and that's really our roots. But now that those are all closed, we're trying to still connect with everyone, and we aspire to live a healthy, active lifestyle. That's our mantra at Celsius Live Fit. So we're not very much marketed around, many other energy drinks. It's jumping through hoops. That's not us, flaming hoops. we are all about living a healthy, active lifestyle. And what we've done is we've pivoted our offline activation to online. And we also we're offering a program every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 p.m. We're offering workouts live on Instagram at pounds, hashtag Celsius Live Fit. And we're not only doing that, but we're also incorporating local trainers, local nutritionists to keep, the community. We need to help our small businesses. So we created this program that not only we connect because of our health and wellness, allow people at home to work out. It's a great way to relieve that anxiety, but also bring the local community in. So within the markets that we're in, we're reaching out to those trainers that we're in the gyms that we sell product at. We're giving them a platform to share their voice, hopefully to help out their businesses as well. When we get through this, they'll have a larger audience, maybe pick up additional clients as well through the process. So we're doing that to give back. And then also we all mentioned about the front line. You hear a lot. We all know what the doctors, the nurses, the firefighters, the police officers, what everyone's doing on the front line. And they're the heroes, right? Mm-hmm. They're the heroes of today that are going to get us through that. So what we've been doing is going coast to coast. We started off in South Florida, and we've been handing out product and requesting anyone that has a first responder ID to reach out to us and DM us on Instagram. And we'll go ahead and send samples. And also do product drop-offs. We've done over 400 hospitals around the country and thousands of cases of Celsius. I mean, our heroes are working 24, 48 hours, shifts at a time. Everyone can use healthy energy, and it's our opportunity to give back. And it's the least we can do as an organization. And we're doing that wherever we can. So those are some things that we pivoted really quickly. We were doing a lot of events prior to that with a lot of sampling, at retail and those type of things, but we took those resources and initiatives and really pivoted, and it's been working out really well for us. The amount of people that have been DMing on us, from firefighters and nurse practitioners to RNs and doctors, it's been really well received. So but those are some quick things that we've done, and we've also we have a lot of different departments, so each department had to adapt. I'm here in the office. But we only have a small team here. Many of us have are social distancing and working from home. We do still have employees going into stores and supporting retail. So it has been hard to adapt. The good thing is we're from South Florida in Hurricane Alley. So it's kind of funny when I talk to a lot of individuals and companies outside of Florida, because we're really almost ready to work from home. We have a playbook, when a hurricane comes, we're able to adapt. So I think we're a little bit fortunate on having to change that piece of our operations on work from home, because we have SOPs and playbooks that say, when the hurricane comes, how do we continue to operate? Because we are a national distribution company. So we've been fortunate on that. We have processes in place, but by no means is it easy. This long of an extended time with communication's been difficult, and it's just not the same when you have a great collaborative group.
Well, kudos to you for all the work that you're doing and all the donations you're giving to first responders, because that is really, really where we need to take care of our people right now. Kudos to your company for that. That's awesome.
And I agree, John. I'm also a first responder, and I have to tell you that the gestures that companies and people like yourself make and give to us is truly appreciated, and a gift, and keeps us going. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. It's the least we can do. I mean, first responders are the heroes today, and have always been the heroes, even now more than ever before. We're actually getting other brands to partner as well. So it's key during these times. We all need to help each other to get through this.
Yes, definitely. Now, I had another question for you, John. I applaud you, because one of the things that I was most interested about in your company was the Celsius Give Back program. So I definitely admire you for that. But I did have a question. I noticed, and this is not to get political, but Florida was one of the last places to close their beaches and one of the first places to reopen their beaches. And I'm like, why reopen these beaches right now?
Well, from my understanding, the only beach that's open is Jacksonville, and you're not allowed to loiter on the beach or lay out. So it's kind of like walking. I mean, I see a lot of people walking and bicycling. Personally, I think it's good to get outside. Everyone's social distances. I saw pictures from the beaches. I didn't see a lot of people getting together. It looked like everyone is just out walking and biking and are out walking the beach. So, I think it's important to stay active. I think during this time we talk about mental health and stress. I mean, if you're stuck at home, multi-families living in homes, you have to get out and get some fresh air and just to relieve some stress. I think it's a good thing as long as everyone is respectable. And I think America has really, the way I see it, with people walking around, and I think we understand that we need to take this seriously, and everyone has to abide by boundaries. And it looks like that's what they're doing in Jacksonville. But it is, we have to get back to some type of normal, but we all need to take good care and the proper precautions.
Good answer. Good answer. I love that answer. That was wonderful, John. So I'm going to move over to Kim, because we were talking about fitness. We were talking about staying fit, staying healthy, what, you can do during these times. Also, one of the industries that has been most hit is the gyms and the fitness, because we can't go to the gym. I saw a lot of the companies pivot very quickly to do at home, Zoom lives and streams where now you can watch your trainer. But what has this process been like for you, Kim?
So for me, I mean, I've stayed in my regular routine, kind of like what John was saying in keeping active. Mm-hmm. Me moving daily is my mental health. Mm-hmm. And even within the training that I do, I am predominantly more of a strength and conditioning coach. So for me, lifting is really where I find my strength. Like, I love lifting. I love high intensity workout. So that obviously goes with the piece that I love to release a lot of energy, because I take in a lot of energy, especially through my practice in business coaching. Mm-hmm. So my approach, I would have to move daily. So I've continued on I trained this morning. So before I deal with clients, it's always been my tradition that I train, I fill up for myself, and then I'm able to give. I always give people the analogy, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Mm-hmm. So you have to take care of yourself. So true. We are also fighting a viral infection. So your immunity is essential, that you make sure you're taking care of yourself. Because I also talked to a lot of my clients, at the beginning of this, I'll be honest, I was in denial. I was one of those, like, come on, let's go. We're going to the gym. We're working out. We're going to get stronger. I was one of those people. I was completely in denial. And then it started to get serious. And then I work with gyms, and the brick and mortar specifically, when we got, I believe it was March 16th, we were told we had to close because we're non-essential. And that's when it started to sink in. I'm like, oh, okay. So the gym's closed. And, for me, I had to pivot for the clients and the groups that I do train to using Zoom, playing with other streaming platforms to help them. But what's the most concerning for small businesses right now, which I'm having to manage with the owners, is the fact that their rent is still due. The commercial rent is still due. And I know there's a lot of focus right now, which obviously in due respect with the citizens of the country and making sure of their health, but there's also this group of people that have invested into their livelihoods, into their legacies, that are just looking at it daily slipping away because there are no answers. I'm from Toronto, so I'm not sure if they're giving you answers out there in the US, but we're not yet getting the answers that we're looking for in terms of what's happening when the rent is building up, and landlords are expecting, but then there's nothing coming from the government to say, hey, here's what we're going to do. So that's why one of the reasons for me why I have to train, because I have my clients coming at me and saying, hey, Kim, you know what am I supposed to do here? Should I just throw in the towel? So I have a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, kind of just like Jody was saying in terms of the whole mental health piece. People are frazzled, and with all, no one expected this. You can't plan for something like this. All you can do right now is, for me, I believe, is taking care of yourself. I think everyone right now just has to do their part. And that's how we're actually going to be able to fix this situation, is that, you're doing all the proper protocols, taking care of the social distancing, washing your hands frequently, and also making sure that you're taking care of what you're putting into your body. So like John was saying, in terms of that whole nutrition piece, you know, making sure you're starting your day right, filling up on the good stuff, because really that is also going to impact your mental state. A lot of times people tend to look at nutrition and they think, oh, it's just about how you look. No, it's also about how you feel, and are you fueling your cognitive senses so that you're able to respond the next time they put that there's 1,000 deaths somewhere, right? There's a lot to do with that chemical reaction in the body that, you know, we need to all be more mindful of everything that we're doing and take it slow. And for me, I've also been just kind of taking it one day at a time. You know, before I was very like, you know, let's go, 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 go. I want to see my week at a glance, see my month at a glance. You know, I'm a forecaster, but this has actually slowed me down. As I said, I was late to the game. I was one of those that, hey, this isn't real. And it slowed me down. And, you know, today I woke up, I was like, okay, I got to train. And I looked at my agenda for today, and then tomorrow is another day. So it's also forced me, someone that's go, 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 just to take it easy and to really, and you know, honestly, one of the things that's really happened, I'll go outside now and I'll look and I'll be like, oh, was that always there?
That's great.
And then I'll say that to my partner and he'll look at me and you're like, are you for real? I'm like, hey, I never seen it. Like it's new. So I think it's really, I think there at the end of this all, there's going to be there'll be some massive lessons that we're going to experience. And we, you know, I think it's coming at us so fast, but I do think although it's such chaos and it's a devastation that's happening in the world, I also think the halt was really good for many of us.
Yes.
I agree.
And seeing the blessings that we've had, I think is really important, and keeping mindful of there's a lot of blessings and we need to take a deep breath and be mindful of those blessings.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's just for me too, it's more so giving myself permission because I come from a heavy sales environment. So I'm used to working with a lot of quotas and, you know, everybody knows this worked in sales, like whatever happened today, it's great. Tomorrow's a new day. And, you know, giving yourself permission to say, you know what, it's 3:00 and I'm going to have a nap. And you're like, I'm going to have a nap. I'm going to actually take a nap. Like,
watch a movie.
Right? Where you don't feel this guilt, you know, especially as an entrepreneur, that you would feel like, oh my gosh, 3:00 and I really want to take a nap, and it's okay. It's like they give you permission to stay home. Like, you know, it's okay to take a nap for sure.
The one thing I've been asking patients is, okay, we know all the bad things that are going on, what we think, what we feel, how they affect our behavior, but what's the best thing about this whole pandemic? And in almost every instance, it's gratitude. And Zamora, you had mentioned gratitude at the onset. And it's like you're saying, Kim, there's a whole heightened awareness of not for what we want, but what we have now, and the value of that, just kind of like walking outside and seeing something for the first time that's been there all along. So thank you for that, Kim. I mean, that is truly something that so many of us for the first time are aware of, because we're outside of the norm right now.
I would add to that the things that Zolmara and John are doing with their organizations, where they're providing free services to people. You know, they're supporting not just their own business, but they're actually looking outwards. I'm seeing that a lot more with a lot of companies, where they're reaching out to help the community and to help anybody without asking for anything in exchange. And that's been key, is to see people rise to the occasion, see organizations and companies rise to the occasion, and stop looking at just the sales pitch, and instead are getting out there to give back to the community and recognize we're all in this very difficult state, but it's important for us to actually, everybody to contribute so that we can get through this together.
Absolutely. And that was
very well said.
That I also did when the pandemic started. Like when they literally closed this down, I was like, okay, so what can I do? And being an A personality, it was like, how can I be part of the change? So I started posting workouts every day. And first, to be honest, it was tough for me because I am very particular in terms of movement, form, technique. I don't just do stuff just to say I did it. Like I want to post stuff where people will actually be able to do it. What I find sometimes with posting I see workouts on Instagram and so forth, people are posting all these fancy things that they can do, but it's like the average person actually can't do that.
That would be me. I'm the average person.
So am I.
Some of our workouts, people have paper plates and all different types of at-home equipment. So a lot of people have paper plates at home. There's some really great routines you can do, and people have been getting very creative, getting active at home. And I agree with you as well. I mean, it's that routine that's the most important, that we continue to stay in some type of routine. We're talking to a lot of people, and I have a lot of like employees working at home as well. Like, you got to still get dressed in the morning, right? I mean, you got to get in that routine, and otherwise that anxiety and everything, it's just a different way of living, and a routine and some activity of mental health and wellness, and thinking about yourself is most important. I agree with you very much.
And if you have a partner, please shower.
John, I want to go back to, I missed what you said. You said something about paper plates. I missed that.
Yeah, so a couple of, I think it was last week, one of our trainers, and weeks before, they've been using a variety of at-home workout equipment, like chairs, paper plates on floors that slide, and
oh wow, seen that.
It's really getting creative at home, because not everyone is able. The gyms are closed, like we said, and it's getting creative. And we try to, on our channel, is try to bring the whole family as well together to have that workout, that time of day to release stress, and get creative. So it's a lot of the personal trainers has been using a variety of at-home soup cans, variety of different interesting things that we all have around the house, that there's no excuse to get up and get moving and get that blood flowing for the day.
Absolutely. Don, I'll add something else to that. One of the things for people that do go to the gym a lot that they lack is sleep and recovery. So even though it's like a blessing and a curse. So the gyms got closed, but for people that would be working out 6 to 7 days a week, they actually need recovery. And even the people that work jobs, like people have multiple jobs working back to back to back, they need recovery, because a lot of times one of the things we're missing that is would tax our immune system is stress. And cortisol being released into the body, it just keeps you in that panic zone. It keeps you in that fight and flight zone. So just as much as I always talk to people about being mindful. So, if you were doing a lot of something before, try to minimize it a little bit. So this way it's like you're finding the healthy balance. You want to be able to get your movement every day, but you actually want to tap into deep sleep as opposed to the cat naps. Because for too long, people have been having cat naps. The average person sleeps about 5 to 6 hours, maybe a day. On prior world, I should say. New world, we're probably getting about 9 hours of sleep if we're lucky, right? So key thing here is that, one, yes, you want to make sure you're moving and you're getting creative, but at the same time, for the people that were going to the gym a lot, like I've seen with my clients, that people that started to sleep started to lose weight.
Oh, wow. Maybe that's what I need to do. I need to go to sleep for a little while.
And that's the reduction of the cortisol, right, Kim? Yes. That's the reduction of that stress, the cortisol neurochemical hormone, because it does create especially a lot of retention and weight around the abdomen area.
Absolutely.
So, and then the exercise and the sleep start the distribution of the positive neurochemicals. So yeah, and routine, like John said, people have to establish a new kind of normal, a new routine, because that's pretty much how we're conditioned. And I know a lot of my moms, oh my gosh, God bless them, with 2, 3 children, even one, just getting a routine and the online teaching. And so in order to de-stress, I'm fortunate. I live in Colorado. I do a lot of hiking. But the most incredible is walking through the neighborhoods and seeing all the chalk art. And I've put some of those up on my Twitter site. But it's the art of the adults. It's so fascinating. The adults are participating in that as well as the kids, but again, establishing some type of normalcy in a world that's been out of control.
I
That's
would add to
beautiful.
that. I would add to that we also have to think about the children who now their screen time has
Oh,
jumped
yeah.
up significantly because they're
Oh, yeah.
learning through the screen. So their stress levels and their screen fatigue is at all-time high. So our company does live interactive educational adventures. So what we do is we pride ourselves in getting kids unplugged from the screen and
Right.
playing pretend. So think of like a computer game, but without the computers. So the kids are actually playing a character, they're putting on costuming, they're going up against our staff who might be dressed as monsters or villains, and they have foam swords and Nerf blasters, or they have some other type of card mechanic. And this is what we do. We create a computer game without the computer, so the kids are being physically and socially active. And then the virus hit. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute, what are we gonna do? So actually, though, we actually were not late to the game. I saw this coming about 3 weeks ahead of time. So I went to my staff, and I'm very thankful because I hire improv actor teachers. So these are people who are used to saying yes and. So when life throws them a curveball, it's not no, I can't do that. It's yes, and we need to do this. So when I went to my staff and I said, I know that the reason why you're with my company is because you get to put on the costume and go out there and play pretend and educate, because in order to power up like in a video game, you have to learn STEM. So if you want to cast a spell, you have to learn physics. So I'm not kidding you when I say that you can stop a 7-year-old out in the field in our summer camp and say, what do you need to know to get your first level of spells? And they will recite and demonstrate Newton's laws of physics to you.
Oh, wow.
So it's an incredible opportunity for the kids to learn in a really fun and creative environment. But since we saw this coming ahead of time, we're like, okay, we got to move this online, because for a lot of our kids, this is their social group. Like, these are often the fringe kids with really incredible imagination, and they don't often fit in at school because they're so up here in their stories. Yeah, they're often gifted, right, and highly creative. So what we did was we said, okay, we're going to bring this online with a combination of Google Classrooms and Zoom. But here's the thing. I want those kids up and out of their chairs. So if they're playing a character like in a video game and they have to be looking at a screen, they still have to power up by doing push-ups and jumping jacks and sit-ups. That's how their character gets health points. Yep. And then we have kids who they want to be able to cast a certain spell, and so in order to do it, they have to go learn photosynthesis. So they have to go outside and hug a tree. And they have to take a picture of themselves outside. So even though it's a screen-based environment, we're trying to use our adventures to get the kids unplugged in a manner of, it's kind of like a hybrid kind of focus where they're seeing their friends here on the screen because they're not allowed to do it in the social environment. So we're using the screen. That's why we don't do the video games that a lot of camps are moving to, like an environment where you're playing an educational video game and then there's some interaction. Ours is face-to-face. The entire time you are face-to-face with your camp counselor. And you are with all of your friends, and there may be graphics put up, but it's the focus is still on the face-to-face social, and it's about getting them to do activities outside of the screen environment. And sometimes they're taking videos and they're uploading it and saying, "Look what I did," and then they're getting feedback from the other kids, and they're powering up with new special abilities. So for us in the summer camp industry, what we found is that a lot of the summer camp industry was taking a wait and see. They're holding on to the hope that this will blow over and camp will.
Oh, no.
And it's not. So Governor Baker from Massachusetts just said no child care is going to be open till at the earliest June 29th, which is past when camp begins. So you have these parents are going, wait a minute, that's my daycare. I've got online school. Now I'm going to go into summer and I've got nothing for my kid and I've got to work. So what we did was I've been doing outreach to the summer camp industry, and just yesterday I had 100 people, different camp directors, reach out to me, including the camp for NASA.
Whoa.
And they reached out to us.
Awesome.
Yeah, and they said, how do we go online? So I did a 1.5 hour Zoom, which we're uploading today, which just says, here's how you do it. And step by step, everything from the technology that's required, how to get stuff to your kids beforehand so that they're up and running before the camp begins. Because we really believe that the summer camp industry rises and falls as an industry. So we don't want to be the only camp out there. We don't have enough people. for that option.
Megan, I have a question for you. You mentioned
Sure.
not enough people, and I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but my son, who used to work at the Santa Monica Pier, he's 23, and he's been playing video games for the last 2 months, okay? So y'all need any camp counselors or something?
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes,
Oh,
we do.
Find him something to do.
Please go to our website. We are still hiring because, as I mentioned to you earlier, tomorrow I'm being interviewed by NPR's All Things Considered about moving our camp online. That's a national syndication. So we're like, okay, we actually sending out an email to our parents today, and we're saying, sign up now, because we could be overwhelmed with requests.
Don't get overwhelmed. I need to be on the list. I need to be him at the top of the list. Okay, so I'm gonna put Sharifa Hardy's son. Okay, I need my influence right now because he needs some.
Go right in there. You can sign up actually through our website. So go up and make your reservation on the website. And then what we're doing actually is really unique, and this is why it's attracting a lot of attention, is for every week of summer camp that we have online, we are also making the full curriculum for the offline version, so that literally the day the health department says you can go live, that weekend we pivot and we move into our facility and we're going live. So it's twice the work. I can't even believe how much work it is. I mean, we're trying to wrap our head around. Right now, though, as I'm speaking, we're still running our spring break. We have full day adventures, online adventures for kids right now for spring break, who are on Zoom and interacting with our counselors. And for parents, we've been getting feedback from parents like, you are my saving grace.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. That is really good.
I can't get my work done without you guys. So, and then we do little mini adventures, like 1 or 2 hours long. And we got this beautiful testimonial, they're on our website, from a parent who said, my kid went up to his bedroom, logged on, took the 2-hour adventure, and he came downstairs with such a smile since I have not seen since before the world went crazy.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's a great testimonial.
Yeah.
Now everybody sees why I love what I do. Why I just have a roundtable talk show. I love speaking to people. I love their personal journeys. I think Mandisa is going to get me if I don't bring her into this conversation. You just so quiet.
I wasn't sure my mic was working. So is my mic working?
Yes, it is. We can hear you.
Okay. All right. Well, my work is quite differently because there's a lot of spiritual warfare going on. So I'm training X-Men. So I'm an astrologer. So I've been spending a lot of time going over people's charts, reminding them of why they picked this point in history to come here, empowering them, just giving them all of their superhero powers as far as their astrological makeup is concerned. I'm also an activist artist, and I believe that there's never been a movement in history. Well, it's not a belief, it's the truth. There's never been a movement of the people in history that was not accompanied by an artistic renaissance. And the artists are particularly suffering right now. We already have mental health and substance abuse issues in the arts community as it is. But now you're not allowing us to create. Now you're not allowing us to get on a stage. We feed off of our audiences. And, you know, doing the live stream stuff is cool, but it's the energy that's missing. You know, I'm a theater actor. I feed off the energy of the audiences. So in between, you know, training people for the spiritual warfare, we're particularly under attack here in Seattle because Bill Gates is here, and there's so much negative energy being thrown at him right now. We're also sit on some very powerful ley lines out here and grid points. So the light workers out here are very, very, very busy because from you know, the princes in Ethiopia sending the emails to people, knowing that people are getting their stimulus money, to, you know, countries and everything. People are taking advantage of the vulnerability of the world right now. Yeah. So light workers are very, 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 very busy, you know, dealing with, you know, the dark energies here, and then plus trying to figure out how to, as artists, you know, be creative with this, and also step into our roles into our leadership roles. So we're training people on how to deal with our politicians and how to deal with our community leaders, because with all of this money floating around, there's all this free money floating around, It's really difficult to see how there's no accountability going on. People are taking these loans that shouldn't be taking these loans. People are suffering. And being out here in Seattle, you know, we were ground zero. We had the first case. So I've been on lockdown since February, pretty much.
Wow.
And it's horrible. But, you know, I agree with what John said. You know, we have beautiful parks and trails and stuff here. And I believe as long as we are practicing social distancing, people have to get outside. We have to be around nature, because that's the only thing that's going to bring the balance back. You know, the air isn't circulating in our apartments. People are going stir crazy. So, you know, that's just kind of what I'm here. I'm training X-Men because X-Men are real. I'm hearing all kinds of reports about people getting their telepathic energies. Their telepathic energies are increasing. Telekinesis. You know, I had somebody tell me that they felt their wings come out the other day. This is real. You know, the healers, the amount of healers that are able to just lay hands or send thoughts. It's really amazing. So I'm an Aquarius, so this is the Aquarius age, and we're making this transition into the golden age. And the Pisces energy, the belief, you know, Pisces keyword is I believe, okay? So we lived 2,000 years based on a bunch of belief systems, and it's great. I used to believe in Santa Claus. I support you having a belief system. But now we're moving into the Aquarius age. This is the age of I know. And in order to know something, you really have to have life experience. And the Aquarius age is the golden age. It's the age of brotherhood and tolerance and everything coming together. But Pisces, that belief, is kicking and screaming, trying to move us into the golden age. So I just encourage people, we're moving timelines, we're moving ages, we're moving energies. And those of us that are awake right now, you know, it's our job to just kind of shine that light on people's paths, not really tell them the way to go, but just tell them, you know, that there is a way to go. So that's kind of what I've been up to out here in Seattle.
I love it. I think it's very
That's so
interesting.
exciting.
But I also believe that, you know, sometimes we don't know what we're going through and what we're dealing with. Sorry, I keep getting parched. But I want to go over to Jody. When people are going through these different things, what are some advice, some strategies, some tips that you can give them to stay with good mental health?
Well, and the first thing is self-care, and I think everybody has mentioned that. Be aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking, and how it affects your behavior. Be aware of what triggers the anxiety. Be aware of what triggers the frustration, the irritability, and the fear. And then we start breaking it apart, because we all are in right now a perpetual fight and flight, because there is a threat to our survival, and that's how we've evolved. What works for you? What does calm you down? What sets you off? Be able to identify negative thought patterns. Are you not getting enough sleep? Well, if you're watching the news or you've got the breaking news tweets coming across the phone 3 hours before, an hour before bedtime, well, then it's realistic to expect that you're not going to be sleeping. So people say, well, I'm not anxious, but I'm not sleeping. Well, it's the subconscious processing of that anxiety. So a lot of the times it's self-monitoring and being intentional about feeling versus fact. What are you feeling? Why are you feeling that? What control do you have over it? We need to know that we have some kind of control, especially with this pandemic that has been thrown upon us. And yes, you know, Kim, many people were not in disbelief initially, because in a modern world, did we expect this? So that loss of control, and then the realization, oh my gosh, this is a reality, and life is no longer the same. You have to break it down, and you have to look inside yourself, and how am I going to navigate day by day, hour by hour, and with the family, and also the social isolation, the loneliness. Loneliness, according to neuroimmunology research, is also puts us in a fight and flight. And it dumps all those negative neurochemicals, like Kim was saying, the cortisol, because it's against the nature of being human. We are social creatures. So getting back, it's self-care, Sharifa, self-care, but also intentionally and being mindful and conscientious of why you feel what you feel and what control you have over it. Staying connected, social distancing, but staying connected is key, but it's also very difficult. So we have to be very creative with that as well.
Absolutely.
If I could add something to that, Jody, I would add that another key piece, and there are people that are currently suffering in silence. And the ones that are suffering in silence predominantly are ones that seek a lot of external validation. And they're not getting that anymore. And they're really suffering, but holding it in. So I think in conjunction to what you're saying about the mindfulness piece, it's also this time of realization for people to see what actually fuels them. Why, what is their why behind every action that they take, the decisions that they make, their choices? Is it always affected by others? Because now when you remove others out of the equation, you are just left with self.
Well said.
And hence that self-care piece. But I think we're also in a time we're going through a massive self-discovery, because we're now, like, as I said, there was a building there, I didn't even notice it because I was always moving potentially in an unconscious state. Now we're being forced to become conscious. You know, we're driving, but we're actually aware that we're driving. We're not just in that subconscious state all the time.
I would also add that we have to watch for our children, because they're not necessarily giving clear signals about how this is affecting them. And for everything that we're talking about here about our self-care, we got to make sure the kids are getting that as well.
Absolutely. Well said, Megan.
Yeah, I agree. And we also talked a lot about positive energy. And I think that's extremely important. And also, I think now, we talked about the beaches in Jacksonville. It's all about, as we talked about as well, as being self-aware of your surroundings and others. And I think we're more caring about others. I'm seeing it as I'm walking through the grocery stores and everything. It seems like we're bringing that back into society over the last several years. The respect has really gone away from one another over the years. And it seems like this is actually bringing that back, that we all are here together and we all need to work together, care about families, our children's, be cognizant. We're living closer together and we're all confined. And have that the sense of awareness, which is key, and that positive outcome. It's too easy to be negative these days, and there's so much around us that's coming at us, a variety of different directions. And I think that's some good benefits that are coming out of this internally as society. I think we'll be more caring and more aware, which will help us in the future to come.
I hope so.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. John, a question for you. From a CEO's perspective, from a company's perspective, one of the things that you mentioned is many of your employees are now working from home. Did you put any type of mental wellness program in place, or did you make an extra effort to make sure that employees who may have never worked at home are okay in that surrounding?
Yeah, I've reached out to numerous employees, and we're trying to keep, routines. We recommend routines. Every employee, we're very passionate at Celsius, so I'm very blessed to have so much great employees working for us. We're a small organization. Everyone enjoys what they're doing, but it's key that we have those routines. So we have done those. We haven't set up a formal routine process, but we know each one of our employees have their daily routines, and we've encouraged some that we've seen them in the same clothes every day. Mental routine is key. So we try to have a little fun with it as well with some of the Zoom backgrounds.
Yeah, John, what I'd recommend for my company and my employees is we actually have weekly playtime. So we have a meeting every Wednesday where we play, and they're paid to play because we hire creative people, and you cannot create when you're under stress. So it's our job. And it's my job as a CEO to set that intention that you have to release this stress. And the number one antidote to stress is play. Absolutely. I maintain that. People think that's only for kids. No. It's for adults.
Yeah.
So we literally have people showing up in their Zoom and they are wearing a onesie with an animal hood and everything. So we have Onesie Wednesday where people show up with their onesies on and you have to guess what animal they are. And we have riddles and we have games and we actually make videos for each other, just silly things, and we go and we send them out to each other. But having that time, we also play every other Tuesday. We play Dungeons and Dragons together, and we all have and it's Dungeons, Dragons, and drinking. So,
I want a job now. Now I want to work for Meghan. Like, you hire me. I want to play. I want to drink.
Well, you have to encourage people to play so that they can feel free and open and that they can begin to create, because we're creating nonstop 7 days a week. These adventures, they don't repeat. They're constantly adapting these adventures to the kids' reactions. So we don't have the option of not being creative. And the way to do that is through play. And we have to play ourselves, and all of you do too, especially if you're in a job that requires you to be creative. You just take an hour out to get some playtime, you will have an entirely different mindset. You'll have activated entirely different neurons, and you'll be thinking about your problems differently. So please take time to play.
And you know, and I want to say that is so true. And I am so proud and privileged every day to see the courage and strength of not only the world, but let's just talk our nation and these United States and our families. I am so proud of the courage and the strength and the creativity that they're showing in cooking, or like Imandesa, the artist. My artist struggles so much, but I tell them you have to find a way to create. But again, the courage and strength that is shown by so many people every day in the everyday American family, it's incredible. And it will change. It will change the way we see life all over the world. And our children will be different because of that. So the creativity is there because we have to in order to survive. It may be manifested in different avenues or different milieus or ways, but we are all trying to be creative with this because it's a whole new world.
And if I could add something, Jody, this is the first time probably in history that we all actually feel the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
Usually
collective grief.
Right? Everyone has their moment in time, and you feel isolated, you feel alone, but for the first time we actually are sharing the same feeling, which actually bringing us together, right? As opposed to dividing us, because in the normal world, we're really divided. And that's where mental health issues really come in, because people are just suffering in silence and no one knows, but now we're all in the same boat. And the other thing I would add to that is that just like working out, it's working a muscle. Right now, the muscle that's being worked is our resilience muscle. Right?
Oh, I like that.
Well said. I love that.
Very well said. I like that.
My concern is post-COVID.
I've had a wonderful time. This has been. Did everyone have a wonderful time? Did you enjoy?
Yes, it's been great.
It was a wonderful conversation. So
it's been great meeting everybody.
Yes, we are coming down to the last few minutes of the show. And what I love to do at the end of every show is just allow my guests a few moments to speak directly to the audience and let them know what you want them to take away from your appearance. So I'm going to give the floor to Imandesa.
Well, yes, I just want everyone to know that you're a unique being and that you're here at this point in history for the reason. So find what your gift is, because humanity wants and needs it right now. So it doesn't matter how old you are. Don't give up on your dreams. If something is knocking on your door and saying, do this, you want to be a ballerina when you're 60, do it, because you're going to inspire other 60-year-olds to get involved in health or wellness. So we just need your best selves right now and to move into your self-mastery. And there are people here to help guide you and encourage you and meet you where you're at. We're not just saying that we expect you to just be all a sunshine and rainbows. This is a very challenging time, but we want people to know that you're not alone and that you're very special, and there are people here to cultivate those gifts within you so that we can move into the golden age. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So Mara.
I want to say, count your blessings every day. Be grateful for all the things and be grateful for the little things. And when you find yourself in that moment of angst or that anxiety building, take a couple of deep breaths and say, okay, what can I find today that I can be grateful for? And be grateful for those little things, and take a deep breath and just say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Even if you can't find something specific to be grateful for, you'll find that just saying thank you over and over again will help you get out of that anxiety and out of that angst and help you face the day with a new attitude.
I love it. Thank you. I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for everyone who showed up today.
Thank you.
You are
Thank
welcome.
you.
Ms. Jody.
I want to say that whatever you are feeling, it's okay. And reach out to others, because we're all feeling something, and so much of what we're feeling is the same. You're not alone with this. And COVID-19 for now, but not forever, and the strength of being human and the strength of the world and our nation, we will get through this. We will. And God bless.
Amen. God bless. Kim.
I would say one day at a time. Take it one day at a time. And
I like that.
exercise self-love. Begin with you. This is a time that is critical to think about yourself. And by thinking about yourself and elevating yourself, you elevate those you love. And that is essential. Practice that, practice the analogy they give you in the airplane with putting your air mask on first. You've got to make sure you're okay, and then you're going to be strong enough to help everyone around you. And I would say, remember that you are enough. We are in a time right now where we're questioning ourselves. We're questioning our competencies. You know, depending on whatever your financial state may be, you may be thinking you're not prepared for this. It's okay. And you have to remember that everything will be okay. And last but not least, pray. You have
Amen.
to, you need center, you need to be centered, you need to become one. And in becoming still, that's where fear comes in and it really sets in. Pray, you have to believe.
Amen. Megan.
Oh, don't forget to play. I'm going to say that over and over again, because especially the more you feel down about what's going on, you know, it's so integral to our sense of peace, and then just happiness. And also, especially if you're in any kind of situation where you're having to problem solve, the more creative you can be around problem solving, the more options you will find. And that comes from taking a break and playing. So watch children. If you've forgotten how to do it, watch how kids do it. If you have kids, get out there and play with them. Play pretend. Let yourself be somebody else for a little while in an entirely different world where this whole thing doesn't matter, where it's not here. And in that, you're going to open yourself up to so many different opportunities, and you're going to come back and you're suddenly going to say, why didn't I see that before? Also, your dreams will change. When you play, your dreams start becoming so much more vivid and creative and exciting. So make the time to play.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to finish with the gentleman, Mr. John.
Well, thank you. I love being here today. Everyone is so inspiring, and it shows you the opportunity we have ahead of us, you know, to dream, to play, positive energy. We're heading into the golden age. There's so much good in the world and so much opportunity in the future. It's all about that mental health, physical activity, and keeping the right balance as we all get through this. And appreciate being here. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. I want to thank all our guests today for joining us. I invite you and I ask you to share this video, share the show, because we learn so much, we share so much. And I also invite you to support our guests. I have their website links in the description. Go ahead and support them. Go get you some Celsius. I believe it's available at Target. I loved it. I enjoyed it. You definitely want to pick up a couple of cases. I've gone through a couple of cases in a matter of days. So I enjoyed it, but support the show. If you're interested in being a guest, please visit the website at asksharifa.com and click on Be a Guest. And you never know, you may be on the Roundtable Talk Show with Sharifa Hardy. Until then, everyone have a safe and a blessed day. Bye now.